Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Mark Rickless, Rebelli, have had the privilege of attending this year live in RBS. The path to the exit is narrow and crowded, and the steps going down were very difficult when I was only 75 years old. Now that I'm 76, I would not consider coming to the Medrash if I knew that I might have to get out in a hurry. You're 100% correct in limiting attendance and advising Social Security people to stay away. A shtickle problem, as I was coming up the stairs, I see all the Social Security guys going down. They gave me a half a smile. It was a polite smile, like, you're a jerk. If it is a Kiddush Hashem to publicly place protecting lives at a higher priority than in-person attendance. Thank you for having your priorities straight, and thank you for a wonderful shir. I started with Bava Basra at age 74. And I'm coming up on 2 years, and my wife sometimes likes to watch along with me. Mark Rickless, Elizabeth, New Jersey. That's a Yid from Elizabeth, New Jersey. What is a Yid from Bnei Brak Taina? In America, yeah, it's a kasha. There's always a thing, they say, from a kasha you don't die. Here's a kasha that you do die from. It says, if in America they're more into safety, how come the life expectancy is much lower in America than in Israel? Therefore, you don't have to have safety. Unbelievable. Now, about letting people into the shir, in the yeshivas, they just learn normally, according to Gdolei Yisrael. I don't know, because the Gdolei Yisrael said they said by Megillah reading, if there's a thing you're supposed to stop in the middle of Megillah, leave. I don't know. I didn't hear anything clear. So why is the shir different? Maybe, and also because this is the only learning some of the people do, so you have to understand, Torah magnum matzlah. Torah says, shh, tzaddik, kohen, shekoyach alakol. Oh, he's the bouncer. Okay. Oh, it's his first time? First time, so it's different. Yeah. First time we let him. First timer. Stand by the thing. This is Shmuley Kleiner. Shalom Aleichem first timers. Shalom Aleichem. Oh, it's a whole minion of first timers. Shalom Aleichem. Gary, you're allowed to go on the thing. You know how to do it? Hello, hi. Manishma? You stuck on this? Oh, okay. No, wrong camera. That way. Let's see. Oh, very good. Say hello to the new guys. Okay, no, because the Olam in America wants to know who came. You know what I'm saying? They're not interested in Shmuley Kleiner right now. Now we're going to go back to Shmuley Kleiner. I'm just showing you how to... Shmuley Kleiner, okay, very good. Now, last night when I showed the video and I read the email from Shlomo David Hefner, so I asked the question, I said, if he opened up a MDY minyan for Shabbos for these boys, and one of the boys didn't even open up the Siddur the entire time, what was the policy about talking? Was there talking or not? So he writes, of course there was no talking at the MDY minyan. You get in big chizuk by featuring your so we hope to take up your offer to come for Shabbos. You have my number. I offered him to come for Shabbos, I don't remember. Oh, he invited me. Oh, we hope you take up our offer to come for Shabbos. You have my number. Yeah, so we stopped the video, because I asked him the question in the middle of Shir, and we went back to the video with number. We played it 3 times until we got the number, and then everybody started calling him in the middle of Shir. It was Givaldi. Zok the Heilige official edition of the MDY Shas. The Masech is sponsored by the Irani and Levi families. The Perik, anonymous. The Daf, today's Daf, Yocheved and Yaakov Gradik. With gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for our wonderful family. Thank you, Hashem. Sometimes you have to stop and pause and say, wow, I have a wonderful family. I have a family, I have children. In the last week, at least 3 people told me they don't have children for a while. One guy just told me, for 8 years he's trying. Masech sponsors David Solomon, dedicated in memory of Avi Moiri, Reb Shmuel Baruch, Ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiz, Rechon Levracha. Masech sponsors Joel Gedalis, Lilin Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalis, and Anas Haslach Baruch Hu Yuchnis V'Gashmius, the Palchik Family Foundation, Zechan Nishmas Harav Agoy, Reb Shlomo Palchik, the Meshach Ze'ilui. Anonymous refuah shlema l'Moshe ben Izah. Anonymous for a complete refuah shlema and arichas yom to Leah bas Esther Amen. Yisrael Malki, Toili Taris Picham Alfi Zav Chesav. We're so proud of you, Yaakov Mordechai. Keep steiging. Send the Gross and family. Canvey Island, UK. In honor of Rebelli, you've changed my meaning of life. Plenty Almighty. Yossi, Mark, and Benny, and all the Oiskim B'tzorchem Diwai. Because Baruch Shalom Scharam. Ari Simon, Refuah Shlema Avi Moiri, Baruch Ben Miriam, Jamie Azulai, Refuah Shlema Esther Bas Luna, Moshe Aaron Miriam Landi, Hoyd Lashem Kitov, Kilo Elam Chazli. Multi-sponsor the second one, anonymous, for the merit of Refuah Shlema, for all of Klal Yisrael needs Refuah Shlema. So Fishy Fisher, in honor of Moshe, is putting on tefillin, centers.com. You guys remember him? Fishy, he came here, he was here Sukkos, and he gave one of the breakfasts, helping Yidden Daven B'tzibur with pop-up and Yonam anywhere worldwide. L'nishmas Chaim Shalom Ben Betzalel. Weekly sponsors Yoni and Tali Spiegelman, and urgent refuah shlema for Ayelet Chaim Rafal Ben Sara, our dear nephew. Daily sponsors B'Yom Kessler for the merit of successful surgery and pain-free recovery for Simcha Liza Bas Clara. Marvin Marvin Schnee, in honor of Scranton. It's one of the things that me and Eli are really into. Schnee. Those who know. In honor, Schnee means snow in Yiddish. Marvin Schnee, in honor of Scranton Yeshiva dedicating new base measures and building. Bor Park, Seder, Matzah Bakery. Shimon. Kvoy dishes Admon Mevision Zech Tzadik Kosh Levroch Mereno Arav Moish Yeshua Ben Mereno Arav Chaim Meir Zech Tzadik Kosh Levroch Chof Adar. She's Moshe. So what is it called now? Bor Park, Seder, Matzah Bakery? It's not called. No. Lekov and Mordechai Sapazing on his Siyam Hashas or Boisai from Elkan's Pills and all the stat fields. Big Mazel Tov. I got an email from him. I should have. Okay, I forgot to. Mordechai Taub, my grandmother, Rezel Bas Yisrael Shloimeh Chaf Adar, and Mazel Tov to our children Reuven and Buna Levin on the Levin. That's Peretz Chaim Levin. So Reuven and Buna Levin on the bris of your son Israel Rafal from your proud parents Yaakov and Sil Shulman, Peretz Chaim and Zahava Levin, Mazel Tov. And the way art, Refuah Shlema Yonatan Eitam Ben B'Sheva Bracha. Be'ez Hashem will see him in the Beis Medrash soon. Refuah Shlema Mordechai Ben Esther. Refuah Ayelet Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther. Rabbi Yisai we're holding Daf Nun Vavam and Beis 4 lines from the bottom. Omar Rebbe Ami. We have a new sefer from Rabbi Pessin. It's Haggadah Shel Pesach, Mida Keneged Mida, Chelik Beis in the Haggadah series. There's 2 of these Mida Keneged Midas in the Haggadah series, and like 4 or 5 Svarim this large of Mida Keneged Mida, how the whole Torah and the whole Yiddishkeit is based on Mida Keneged Mida. Omar Rebbe Yami, Hiniach Sa'or al Gabi Isa v'holach v'yoshav lo v'nischam tzomei eleh. There's a sugya of starting an act. When you start something, does the whole Maisa, what's the word I'm looking for? Do we consider the Maisa? Do we give you credit for the Maisa? What's the word? No. You put the starter, the leavening agent, on top of the dough, and then it became chametz. You didn't mix it, you didn't do anything. Chayav aleh. That's considered chametz. These are the psukim that we said you have to be careful with the mincha not to make chametz. Kemaisa Shabbos, we see something very similar when it comes to Shabbos. Shabbos, you put a steak on a grill and you walk away, you're chayav. So too over here, you put the leavening agent in the flour and you walk away, you're chayav. Ask the Gemara, let's see if this is true. Umaisa Shabbos, are you actually chayav when it comes to Shabbos when you just put it on the grill and walk away? If you put a steak on top of a grill, if you flip it over, you're chayav. And if you didn't flip it over, you're potter. So you see that you have to take more action. It's not enough just to put it on there once and walk away. So, 2 things here. First of all, there's a sefer, I didn't even know this. There's a sefer by the Rishonim called Basar Agabi Gechalim. That's the name of the sefer, and some say that the Rebbe Tam wrote it. That's Aleph. Beis, Reb Chaim Kanievsky writes over, he has a whole list of halachas that are neged to Hilchos Shabbos, but not in Masechta Shabbos. And this is one of them, right over here. Okay? A kol panim. In our sugya, when you put the leavening agent, l'chayra, it's not enough. When it comes to Shabbos, you have to flip it over. But when it comes to, because that's, in other words, it's enough just to put it on for that half. You don't have to sit there and stoke the coals, I don't know what. You put it on, you're chai for that half. Yes, you have to flip it over because that's how you make a steak. Otherwise, the other side is going to be raw. But when it comes to the leavening, all you need to do is put it in once and walk away and you're chayiv. It's the same idea. By a steak, you put it on once and you walk away, you're chayiv for that half, and then you flip it for the other half. You have to have both halves in order for it to happen. But that's just the way the steak works. It's 1-to-1. The only way a steak, as we're going to see soon, if you do one half of a steak, it's not edible. It's not something that people eat. You don't eat. Have you ever eaten from the top of a steak that's well done on this side but not on the other side? It doesn't work like that. That's not the way you do it. Yes, it's not. You want to call it bishul? It's not how you eat a steak. Steak is on both sides. But when it comes to leavening, it's enough just to put it in and walk away, and it'll make it chametz. Over there, you don't have to, right?
Why did the Gemara bring that case?
No. The opposite. We're trying to show. You're saying that you'd be chayiv for there, but I'm bringing a case that you're not chayiv until you flip it. Why is it different from there? You're right. That's a good case, but why? How come by steak you need a flip? You need more involvement. So by else also you should need more involvement. You're saying it's more similar. At the end of the day, it's more similar to Redis Apas. Okay, we have to go through that. We have to get to there. Gufa. We just said, and we're repeating, if you put a steak on the coals, if you flip it, you're chayiv. And if you didn't, you're potter. But what's the case? If you can't eat, it's not edible. Pshit, of course, you're not chayiv. Nami have a bashal, but if maybe the pshat is even without flipping it, it's also edible, just it's not as good. So why do you have to flip it? Why don't you chayiv without flipping it? There's a concept called Michael ben Drusai. Michael ben Drusai, he was a robber. His name was Drusai, and he would eat it raw, very, very rare, very rare. Rare to the point it was a third. I don't even know if that's what rare is today. 1/3 of the typical cook time. 1/3. Kimach ben Drusai. What is it called? Blue? Not even red. Blue. You don't argue with the meat guys. It's like I once went on a boat here in Eretz Yisrael. The guy said, "You want to go tuna fishing?" So I never fished in my life, really. He said, "It sounds cool. We're going to go catch some tuna." You take a yacht, go off the coast of Israel. You go for like an hour and a half off, and then you throw the thing in. Right, Eli? You've done it. Every week he does him stomach. And sure enough, we caught a tuna. It was big. No, it wasn't the real, not the blue tuna, not the blue fin that are worth $10,000. It's this size. I don't know what it was. Like this size. I have a picture actually. And who?
Aquamarine. It was like
Aquamarine. Yeah. Okay. This size. And the guy, the captain of the ship comes, and the thing is still flipping around. He takes a knife, and he goes. He makes like a triangle in it. He says, "You want a piece?" So he says, "Very good." So he put soy sauce on it and we ate it. Yishmak, Kimach ben Drusai. It's tuna. Tuna you eat raw. We say, "Yeah, it's normal." So what was flipping around a little bit? No, it wasn't flipping. It was dead. It was dead. It's dead. It just died 30 seconds before. It was like, no, I don't think so. No, there's no Ever Mechai.
No, first of all, there's no Ever Mechai by fish. Doesn't matter.
As a side note, I bring the tuna home. I tell my wife to cook it. I didn't realize that regular people don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. There's kishkis, there's hearts. You don't know where to begin. Like, so I bring it to the store. Could you do this? No. Another guy. Until we found a guy that knew a little bit. He knows how to do it. Fillet it. It's like a whole thing. Like, you don't know what to do with it. It's like, what do you do with the kishkis now? Now what? You open it up. It's like, But when it was delicious. Mamish, fresh, gefaldig. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so that's Kemacha ben Drusai. Now, this Macha ben Drusai, if the only way to do it is, so you got a third on one side, and if you flip it over, you get a third on the other side. The kol mitzad echad Kemacha ben Drusai lo klumu. Yes, there's a concept called Kemacha ben Drusai, but that's only if you do Kemacha ben Drusai on both sides. One side Kemacha ben Drusai is garnished. You can't literally searing it for a second. That's garnished. There's a famous Maisa from Rabbi Yoelish, the Satmar Rav. He told his Chassid he wants to tell him a Chassidisha Maisa. Famous Maisa. I said it a few times in Shir. It's a Gevaldik Maisa. I saw last night. Half the people didn't know the story. He says there was a Chassidisha Maisa. No, what's a Chassidisha Maisa? He says there was a band of robbers, and they went out every day. They go rob, and then they had a couple guys stay back in the camp and make sure that everything's good, protect the camp, protect the loot, and also cook geschmack meals. So one day they go out and they rob like a bank, and they had tremendous hatzlacha baruch Hashem, siyat d'shmaya shein kemoyu, millions of dollars. And on the way back, and this you see this adayim as this happens. There's no honor by thieves. They're thinking to themselves, why should we divide these millions with these shaitim that are sitting and all they did is cook some meals for us? Doesn't make any sense. We risked our lives. So the plan is we're going to come back and we're going to kill everybody. And then we're going to take everything for ourselves. Givaldic plan. At the same time, the chefs and the things, they think to themselves, why shouldn't we take everything? Like, who are these guys, B'chlal? We sit here, they have all the fun, it's exciting, it's the guns. We're going to put some poison in the food. When they come back, Shalom Yisrael. Sure enough, they come back with all the loot, and they kill all the chefs and and then they sit down to Gishmak Suda, and they eat, and they all die. So the Chassidim say it's a Mordek Maisa. Why is this a Chassidish Maisa? It's a Chassidish Maisa because who told you the story is true? Who's there? Who witnessed the story? Who knows what happened?
The little Yiddilah who came in the forest and found all the money.
Yeah, but we don't know that they said this and they said that. All this, it's all Baruch HaKodesh. I saw. I witnessed it. Zog the Gemara. By the way, Stam as a side note, I typically don't say over these things, but this is Reb Chaim Vital, and I saw it in a few places, so I'll say it over. He says that this Drusai is a Gilgal of Chafni ben Eli. He's the son of Eli HaKohen. And Eli HaKohen, they used to chap the karbonis from Klal Yisrael, and they would eat it raw, and Mamela, it was a Mida Keneged Mida. Okay, I have a thing here. I'm gonna put it on here. It's more of a. I wasn't excited. This is from our new guy. I was super if to show it to you now. Maybe I'll just show half.
You see that? I'm Ben Drusai. I'm an outlaw, and this is a robbery. But the meat isn't ready at all. Maybe you should wait a little? I ain't got time. I'm getting out of here before the sheriff shows up.
Kids are okay. That's all I'm showing you today. He likes it. We're not here. We're here to learn Torah, not to watch movies. Omarova. We're getting there. Omarava. V'im nitzla boy kigurgeres, not a kizayis. A kigurgeres. If you are able to roast 1 fig's worth, dried fig, mitzad echad, b'mokim echad, chayav. Where's my figs here? Oh, no? Okay. It's not in the fridge. But there's no lady here last night. He's saying there's nobody. Okay. Fine. Ben Drusai. Okay, it's very pashut. We don't need figs. You know what? I have one dried out. What did I have here? I had a dried out.
It's just a figment of the imagination.
Garnished. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Rabbi say there's 1 fig.
It's not a fig. It's a fig.
This is a fig. It's a figment of your imagination. It's a fig. Yes, this is a fig. Rabbi say, v'im nitzla boy kigurgeres. If you have 1 fig's worth of nicely done, more than a kamacha ben drusai. Macha ben drusai is blue. This is already red. Yeah, rear. It's already the next level up, but it's the size of a fig. Even on one side, in one area, you're good. That's it. You're chayiv.
Are we doing this?
No, we're not doing this. One guy decided to start this up. It's not a thing. It's not a thing anymore. We're stopping this? Everybody, we're stopping it? Now what are you thinking you had to say? We're stopping this. I don't understand. Take this fig and break it up into 2 or 3 areas. And Shalom Yisrael, why can't you have 3 spots? Here, 1, 2, 3, like this. 3 spots. Says the Gemara, Bosnan, and I'll prove it to you. There's a concept called tziruf. I could take 3 different areas and pretend they're all one place. Bosnan, hakuideach kol shu chayav. If you take a drill, take a small little drill bit, and you drill a little tiny hole, you're chayav. You're chayav on Shabbos for boina. You're building. Says Gemara Chidami, we have to understand what the case is. You drilled a tiny hole somewhere. Kol shul chazi. You didn't accomplish anything with a small hole. Elalav b'shnayim shleishim mekoyimos. The chazal tziruf. We're talking about. Sometimes I don't know if you ever built anything, but it happened to me many times. You don't have the right drill bit, and you try to make like a larger hole. So let's say you try to poke something in a piece of concrete. I don't know what. So you make 1 hole, 2. You make a few holes, and then you pop it out. No, pilot hole is something else. Pilot hole is when you make a small hole, then a larger hole. That's something else. You're making, like here, we have a little bit of video.
I'm all wet. I need help. I'm already coming.
This is based on a true story, everybody. So when I first moved to Eretz Yisrael, I didn't know. It's like, okay, so if a few people came to my house on Purim, so he gave them a little bit. I didn't know that they have cell phones. Mini buses were pulling up to the house. We got that loser, that American dude. The rich uncle from America is here. Okay, anyway, so you see that you can take one drill, one little hole, in other words, times 3 equals one giant hole that together is considered a hole. Yeah, it by itself, one small hole is nothing. Over here also, one little piece of a fig is not enough. But 3 pieces of fig in 3 different areas of the steak that are well done, or more than K'maychel ben B'Soy, it should be starved to one fig. Says Gemara, there's only one small hole. And also, like, when you do construction, a lot of times you use a small little bit. Those little bits, they do things. It's good for something. It's good for aklida, like hakideach kolshehu.
Like I said.
I thought it means this. Like at the end of a key, there's like a little piece that sticks out, so you need to drill a little bit more. You need a little hole. Anyway, fine. Yoshi was mechulek on me. Fine. The point is, sometimes you need a small bit, and that's why you're over. But you can't bring a riot to a fig's worth of well done meat. Rava holds that if you have a total of 1 fig's worth well done, even though it's spread out in 3 places, but the total amount is a fig's worth, that's also considered cooked. This is a freebie, mamish, 5 lines, a freebie, word for word. We also learned that if you drill a very small hole, you're chayiv on Shabbos, what's the case? If you did it one time only, what could it accomplish? It must be 1 or 2 places. Okay, I'm going to say it's Stam, why not? There was a guy that came for dinner, and you know those Keter chairs, the plastic Israeli chairs? How many people had a situation here where you had a guest come over, and you gave him a chair, and he ended up on the floor? Happened? Yes. It happened to one of our guys here, Aaron, what's his last name? Geltner. Aaron Geltner is one of the chashuvim in our shir. He's a Rebbe in Cheder. He said it happened to him this year. He sat down in front of his class, and he plopped down, fell on the floor. And the kids were laughing. The principal came in. He says, Rabbi Isai, you all have to fast. You all witnessed a Sefer Torah fall on the floor. I like that. No, he was joking. He just wanted to make light of the situation. No, this is a famous mitzvah where a guy came. He was the dinner honoree at the place, and they gave him one of these Keter chairs, the ones that have like little holes in it. And he sat down and he fell on the floor. So the MC got up and he said, "Look, what happened was." All the holes were fighting which hole he should sit on.
That's a real story. That's a real story.
Yeah.
Happened to Rebbe Chaim Sonnenfeld. Rebbe Chaim Sonnenfeld gave Herbert Samuel. He gave Sir Herbert Samuel.
Today's his yard side.
Herbert Samuel came to visit Rabbi Yosef Chaim. In his house, he gave him the chair. He fell down. Rabbi Yosef Chaim said to the British High Commissioner, "That story. That's a true story."
It makes a lot more sense. Why would there be a Keter chair at a dinner? Okay, now it makes sense. But you mean they had those little? It was like a
little chair with little holes in it. And he said to him after he fell down, he said to him. So the British, anyways, more to the story, right?
Yeah.
That's the.
Yeah, it happened to us. We had a relative that was a little upset at my parents, and they weren't in speaking terms for a while. And he came to make shalom. When we lived in Eretz Yisrael, he came, and my mother made a whole suda, and he sat down and he fell down on the floor. And it was like, oy vey! Like he finally came over, and finally we put him on the floor. Huh?
The expiration date under the chair. If you look at every
I don't believe it.
the expiration date. Yeah, really? Yeah, take a look under it.
You mean so it's designed with dafka to break so they can sell more? Oh my! Oh wow! It's the expiration date or the date of Yitzur? This is crazy. This is crazy. But listen, not in these. Cheer.com doesn't have expiration. It's the same thing. Who said it's the same date? Dave, it's the same date. The date it's manufactured and the expiration date, same date. Very nice, very nice. Okay, now we're going to get sued. Oh.
Up to light.
So the Gemara loy b'makim echad. You only drilled one hole. We're not talking about tziruf over here. The chazal above that klida. This is for the door of the key. Givaldik. Nu sugya. Torah Rabbanon ilu nemar asher takrivu l'Hashem. So for this you must see this pasuk. It's very very important. It says kol mincha asher takrivu l'Hashem. Any mincha. So the Gemara says, what if you would remove those two words? Kol mincha. Just start asher takrivu l'Hashem. Lo yisel as chametz. So the Gemara says, I learned two things. I have two words. I'm going to learn two limudim from these two words. Ha'isi yomer einli ela einli b'loisas chametz. There's a pasuk that says, don't make chametz. Ela chametz movad. We already saw in the Mishnah and the Gemara also. The Gemara, when we were learning the Mishnah brings a pasuk. How do you know you're not allowed to make chametz? I explained over there. The Mishnah explained. It's talking about before by the Kmitza, and then the Gemara talks about after the Kmitza on the Shirayim. Now the Gemara is saying, I would think how do I know if I combine the two things before the Kmitza? I have the Kmitza in there, I have the Shirayim in there. How do I know that it doesn't, that there's an Isser to make it chametz? Talmud loymar mincha. So that one word we got mincha, the entire thing. Shar menachos minayin. This pasuk is talking about a minchas marcheshes. How do I know other menachos? Talmud loymar kol mincha. The word kol, all menachos. Asher takriv l'Hashem. What do I do with asher takriv l'Hashem? Ksheira v'lei psula. This is also very interesting halacha. This isser of making a mincha chametz is only when the mincha is kosher. Let's say you took it out of the Beis HaMikdash. Let's say the mincha is tamei. No isser chametz. I just saw an interesting chaf from the Brisker Rav that he says, what do you mean tamei? Tamei, any carbon that's tamei is really not tamei. If you put it on, the tzitz is meratza. We learned that tzitz gets rid of the tumah. He says, yeah, it gets rid of the tumah when you put it on the mizbeach. But over here is before you put it on the mizbeach. Over here, you're over iser chametz when it's tamei before you put it on the mizbeach. So it's like a chap. Yeah, there's a just to explain the concept of tzitz meratz when you put it on the mizbeach. If you cannot do chametz to something that has a psul on it, if it went out of the Beis HaMikdash and it's possible, then you're not over on chametz. Boy, Rapapa, what about chimtza v'yatzos v'chazer chimtza mal? You created chametz. Now we learned yesterday. What does it mean? Just stam pasha pshat. What does it mean chametz and then you made it chametz? Could you make something chametz twice in a row? The answer is not really. If you make a different type of chametz, you do one of the four things. You mechametz by the lisha, by the aricha, by the ktifa, by the afiyah. You do another. So you did chametz. We did learn yesterday. That's exactly what we learned yesterday. That was yesterday's sugya. That works by mum after mum. Doesn't work here there. Okay, but there is no chametz. You yourself cannot make chametz twice in a row on this with the same action we learned. What if you did chametz and it went outside of the Beis HaMikdash? So now there's some sort of psul here, and now it comes back into the Beis HaMikdash. You told me that once it's pasul, you can't make more chametz. So then, what's the question, B'chlal? Mao, given the yatzas pasul b'yotzei, it already became pasul. The simple understanding is once it went out, it's yaitza. So once it's over and it went out, it became pasul. You can't add another. That's it. It's locked out from making a chametz. You just told me. Asher takriv Hashem. It has to be something that's kosher and not pasul. Once it went outside, it's pasul. You can't add another chametz. But listen to this. You're not chayav for a double. That's it. You're locked out. You can't make more chametz. Listen to this, says Rashi. Once it's chametz, then it doesn't have the kedusha, lost a little bit of the kedusha to it. You can't make something pasul yotzei if it's not 100% kosher. The yotzei is not chal on it. And if the yaitz is not chal on it, then you could do chametz after chametz. What lacks out a second chametz? Something that makes it possible. But it's not possible. Why? Because it's already possible from the chametz. Again, I see Avi looking at me as if, wow. Nachamol. Somebody took a mincha and made it chametz. What happened now? It's possible a little bit. Once it's possible, you can't make it possible by taking it outside of the Beis HaMikdash. It's already possible. I take it out of the Beis HaMikdash. What do I do? I took something that's possible. I made it more possible. So if I can't make it more possible, now I can add another chametz to it. If I take if I take something that's totally kosher and I take it out of the Beis HaMikdash, I made it pasul yaitze. Pasul yaitze, I cannot make chametz to it. It's already pasul yaitze. But if yaitze doesn't apply to it, why doesn't it apply to it? Because it's a little bit chametz already. And if it's chametz already, I can't add another psul yaitze. So now I could add another chametz to it.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? Time out. Let's go back. Let's go backwards. We learned yesterday, it's in the Mishnah, you could add 4 chametzes to 1 mincha. By me kneading it, I was over on chametz. Then a minute later, I braid it. I'm over another chametz. Then I add water to it. I'm over another chametz. I could add chametz on top of a chametz. We just learned the halacha that if I take a mincha outside of the Beis HaMikdash, it becomes pasul because I took it out. Now I can't do chametz to it. It's done. It's pasul. It's garnished. It's treif, chazer, whatever you want to call it. It's garbage. Throw in the guy. What do you making me chametz? I'm not over on chametz. Now, what happened was I made 1 chametz. Great. By making chametz, I made it a little bit pasul. A little bit pasul. A little bit pasul, to the point where if I take it outside of the Beis HaMikdash, it's not. I can't put yaitz on it. I can't do pigel to it. I don't know what. I can't do anything to it because I made it a little pasul by making chametz. A mincha can't be chametz. So since the yaitz doesn't apply to it, I ignore. So now it's like a regular mincha that I could add another chametz to it, and then another chametz. I could add 4 times chametz to it.
Is there an issue yaitze? Is he over on the lab of yaitze?
No.
Why?
No, because it's a little pasul. It's pasul, not over on anything. That's that sad. It's a second sad in the Gemara. It's 2 tzdadim. Look the Gemara weiter. And therefore, you want to see, we should really see Rashi inside. Where's Rashi inside? Where was it? It was on top. Oh, here. The lav gdusha gemurahi, says Rashi. It loses some of the gdusha. Then the only thing that you could put on it is 1 psul called chametz. And then v'chayiv kishar mechametz. Then you could add another chametz to it. But the psul of yaitz doesn't apply to it. So Mela. No, but that we said that you could add chametz to chametz to chametz. But the Torah says that, the Mishnah says that we are not arguing with. Oh, that's not makasha. That was the sugya of mechametz achar mechametz. That you could do chimutz. Time out. Hello, that was yesterday's sugya. The yesh mechametz. You want to listen or you don't want to listen? You want to talk or you want to listen? Yesterday's sugya was that there's mechametz after mechametz. That was the sugya. That I could take a guy that has a saurus, he's a saurus, and I could add saurus to him. Mechametz, I add another chametz. That was yesterday's sugya. What we're saying today is nothing to do with that. Once it's pasul, there's a psul yaitze. Once it's a little pasul, then I can't add a psul yaitze. That's a different chiddush.
Yaitze is then the kedusha, and the chimutz not in
Then I'm saying lumdus. Okay. Okay, that what? Yeah, okay, I'm listening. That yaitze takes away from the kedusha.
The Isser Yaitze is because it has din kedusha. Once the kedusha is down, so then you don't have the Isser Yaitze. Not anything the Isser chimutz is in the chetz of the caravan. It's not like you're taking it down from the kedusha. It's just an Isser that.
I hear. So Willing is explaining. There's only an Isser Yaitze when something has full kedusha. When it loses some of kedusha, you don't have the psul yaitze. But chametz, and what's the pshat chametz? Chametz is in the actual carbon, in the actual mincha. Yeah, but we're still discussing it lost part of its kedusha. Nevertheless, you can add chametz to it.
intervals, you keep on doing chimas. So
Right.
That's what Rashi says. The second chimas is they use gemara. Is the gemara chimas is that.
Right, but there's a lot. You still have to understand. Since there's 4 intervals, then in other words, there is a little bit of kedusha left. And Rashi even says it's not gomer. In other words, we have to say that the Isser Yaitz is only when it's 100% Kaddish. 50% Kaddish, you're not over on Isser Yaitz. Okay, I hear. Very good. No, that's something else. That's a machshava. It has to be 100% machshava. Okay, fine. And Memela, at the end of the day, Teiku, Boy Rav Mari. Chimtza B'Rosh Hashem Mizbeach Mao. If you took this mincha up the Mizbeach, up the ramp, but you didn't put it onto the fire, you took it up. What did I say? The mincha? Yeah, the kmitza of the mincha. Mao. Are you locked out of making chametz? You made a chametz on top, but maybe it's already too late. You already mekayim what you had to be mekayim. You brought it up. Asher takrivu. It's even a lashon of to bring closer, and you did. Omar Achman of akriva, and you did so. But at the end of the day, you have to put it on the flame. You didn't put it on the fire, and since you didn't put it on the fire, you still have the ability to make a chametz and be over the iser teiku. Says Gemara, mikol hamincha. That what? Mikol hamincha we learned before that it's even before you did kmitza, you're over on chametz. Asher takriu Hashem, which is a step later, being makriv on the mizbech. Lamali, what do you need that for? Mebayir like this hagin. Asher takriu l'rabbis minchas nesachim lechimos. Di Rabbi Yisrael Glili. Rabbi Akiva Omer l'rabbis lechem aponim lechimos. We have a machlokes here. There are 2 new items that are possible to make chametz. One of them is a minchas nesachim, which is a mincha that we bring together with the oila and shlamim. You bring flour, you bring wine together with the oila. And is there a chiyuv to make sure it doesn't become chametz? And Rabbi Akiva says, that's Rabbi Yisrael Glili. Rabbi Akiva says, no. It's referring to the lechem apanim. That there's an isser to make lechem apanim, the 12 breads that we bring on every Shabbos, on the shulchan. There's an isser to make them chametz, the same as we were learning up until now. This is on lechem apanim, which the Gemara is going to flip. The Gemara is going to say Rabbi Akiva doesn't say lechem apanim. Rabbi Akiva is the one that says minchas nesachim, and Rabbi Yisrael Glili is the one that says lechem apanim. That's a whole, yeah. We're not getting there yet. Minchas nesachim, as the Gemara, minchas nesachim, what is minchas nesachim? There's no water. Minchas nesachim may perisem. It's a bunch of oil. There's a lot of oil. There's 3 lug of oil, and there's no need for water. Sometimes when you put a little oil, so if you ever take a lot of flour, put a little oil, it's impossible to knead it. But if there's a lot of oil, then you can knead it, and if you knead with a K, then you don't need water. You don't need to introduce water. And umei perisem machmitzim. Fruit juice doesn't create chametz. Now, don't take this literally. Taisus points out in the beginning of the parak, he says over here, Pirashti, and he says over there that it just means it's not full chametz, but it's chametz nuksha. It's a inferior type of chametz. Okay, but I think the Sfardim actually hold that may peris what matzah shiro, etc. Okay, fine. But the question is, what's the question? The question is, how could I, if lechem apanim doesn't even have water, how could I even make it chametz? There's no way to make it chametz. I'm using oil, and oil doesn't make it chametz. Amar Shlokish, oy mahoy Rabbi Yisrael Glili, minchas nesachim megabel b'mayim ukshera. You're permitted to add water if you want to, and in that case that you add water, not only does it become chametz, some say it makes it worse chametz, like it's a stronger chametz because it's together with oil, and water is kosher. So that's the case. We're talking about he added a little bit more water. Says the sponsors, turning the daf at our global happy clients all year, not just this month. L'shadach.com. Please read a shidduch today. Ask the Gemara Kasha, lechem aponim midas yoveshi. How do you? Hold on. This. Here's my cup. This is for liquid. This is for liquid. This plastic one is for flour. So says the Gemara, I don't understand something. Lechem aponim midas yoveshi. You're trying to measure an isaron with this. This, Rabbi Isai has zero kedusha. This is not a klisharis. This guy is the difference between liquid and solid. The solid, according to Rabbi Akiva, doesn't have kedusha at all. It's plastic. It's garnished. So what's the question? As you're making the lechem hapanim, at what point are you making a chametz? But by putting into this kli, it doesn't give a kedusha. So stam, you're making chametz at home. That's not a problem. There's no issa d'oraisa. When does it become kaddish? On the table. When you put it on the table, it becomes kaddish. Kaddish. Here. At this point, when he puts it in, boom, it's already too late. You can't make chametz. You can't make a dog bread. It can't be chametz. The always always conscious. So we have to do this, one of these famous things. So it's a little confusing because we're talking about the bottom. So let's start with the bottom. It's not confusing at all. I'm just saying that usually I go with the top. But my Menchi guys only work on the bottom. Rebbe Akiva says that this pasuk comes to Ashetakriyu comes to say that lechem hapanim you can't make chametz. And basically it says minchas, it's coming to minchas nesachim. The problem is Rebbe Akiva holds, and we're going to stick with this. Rebbe Akiva holds that this kli doesn't become kaddish. If this kli doesn't become kaddish, how in the world could he say that lechem hapanim you shouldn't make it chametz? There's no way to make lechem hapanim chametz. It's only when you put it in. So in Mela I have to switch it around. That's why I'm switching it around. It's Rebbe Akiva that says that's minchas nesachim you shouldn't make chametz. And it works out beautifully. Because Rabbi Yossi Glili, we're going to show in a second, he holds, Yavesh has Gdusha. This has Gdusha. This has Gdusha. Oh, if this has Gdusha, then I have to be careful with the Lechem HaPanim not to make it Chametz. Veipoch, Asher Dekrivu, L'Rabbis Lechem HaPanim L'chimutz, the Rabbi Yossi Glili. Rabbi Kiva Omer, L'Rabbis Minchas L'Sachim L'chimutz. Okay, it's Rabbi Kiva holds, it's Minchas L'Sachim. Now, V'az Rabbi Yochanan Tamei, Domer Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yossi Haglili. Now, how do I know that Rabbi Yossi Haglili says that dry goods, the dry measuring cup for dry goods is kaddish? How do I know? Because Rabbi Yossi Haglili holds like one of the Talmidim, mitalmidei Rabbi Shmuel Amar Davar Echad. Rabbi Yossi Haglili and one of the Talmidim Rabbi Shmuel holds one, and Umanu Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yossi Haglili are in the same. They're in quotes. They say the same thing. The what? The Sanya. Vayim shochem b'kadish oisam. You should be mekadesh the kalim. Moshe Rabbeinu takes the special shemen hamishcha, he smears it, and he makes with this shemen hamishcha, he makes the kalim kadesh. They become klisharis. Rabbi Yossi Omer midas halach nimshach bein mibifnim bein mibachutz. Need to get some of these guys up. Sorry, this is what I found. Okay. What do we have here? This goes over here. This is the sheet that we're looking at. There's another sheet. Right over. What's the plastic, Rabbi say? Yavish. This see-through thing is liquid. Okay, so we have 3 sheetas here. It's very simple. It's 3 sheetas. Here's the question. The way Yoshi did it is not 100% accurate, but it's hard to describe in a picture. The question is always, when a kli has Kedusha, let's say this kli has Kedusha. This for sure has Kedusha, right? The lach always, according to everybody, has Kedusha. The question is, where? Where is the Kedusha? Only in the inside or in the outside as well? L'may nafkimina. What if I pour water on the outside like this? Did the water now become Kaddish? It touched only the outside of my kli. How? Because I filled it up very high and it fell over the side. And it touched the side. Kaddish or not Kaddish? That's the machlokes here. So we have one shita so far that says that this yavish is 0. We have a shita that the lach, the liquid, is going to be Kaddish on the inside and the outside. And then we have in between shitas. Or shita. Let's see. Midas halach nimshach bein mibifnim bein mibachutz. According, this is Rabbi Yoshia, and this is Rabbi Yossi Haglili. Rabbi Yoshia says that this guy right over here is Kaddish inside and out. So I don't know how to do that. I'm going to put a sticker inside and outside. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, like this. Both. That's Rabbi Yossi Haglili. That's Rabbi Yoshia. Midas yavish nimshach mibifnim He holds there's only one Gedusha over here. On this guy, one. But outside is nothing. Only one. And now you have a second shita that holds that this is a liquid, only one. And this guy is all by himself. I should really remove this, not to confuse the Olam. Okay, so we have this. This. And now we're waiting for a third shita. According to Rabbi Yonasan, the only kedusha is inside the liquid kli, 0 in the dry kli. This shita says there's inside the dry kli, and he's the most machmer. It has, and the liquid kli has both inside and outside. So Mela, Rabbi Yonasan, if we go back to this, Rabbi Yonasan Galili holds like the Rabbi Yoshia. That what? That the Yavish has some Kedusha. Look, it has Kedusha inside the Kli. According to I'll show it this way. Okay. By the two breads, we're going to come back to this also. By the two breads of Moshe. You have to bake the breads. When does it become Kaddish? Bikurim Lashem. After Teofena, once you bake it, then Bikurim Lashem. Putting it in a vessel, in a measuring cup, doesn't give it any Kedusha. So what's the Machlokes? Ba'isam, the word Oisam. Rabbi Yoshua Sava Oisam Lemute Midas Yavish Bachutz. It's mashma only in the inside, but that the dry one doesn't have any Kedusha on the outside. That's why there's only one sticker here. There is Kedusha on the inside. Rabbi Yonasan Sava Midas Yavish Chalu. This is, look at this. This is a piece of plastic, has 0 Kedusha, not in the inside and not in the outside. And you don't need to talk about it at all. It's a vachadike kli. It's a garnished. The only pasuk I need is some that the liquid kli only has a kedusha on the inside, but not on the outside. Oh, so if we look over here, this is a very rudimentary thing. But on the top it says Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yosef say the same halacha. That what Yavesh has kedusha on the inside. And that's what we said. That's why lechem apanim that you measure with this dry kli does have kedusha, and you have to be careful not to make it chametz. And when it comes to liquid, it has kedusha on the inside and the outside. So what does Rabbi Kiva say? Rabbi Kiva says we saw before. That's why Rabbi Kiva can't say that it's lechem apanim you have to be careful with, because this has 0 kedusha. But Rabbi Kiva says something else. This has 0 kedusha, but the lach has kedusha inside and outside, 2. So we have a third shita. This is different than this shita, because over here the yavish has little kedusha, and over here the yavish, according to Rabbi Kiva, has 0 kedusha. It has kedusha inside and outside, 2 stickers, and 0 kedusha on this. So Meila says the Gemara, Lema Rabbi Kiva ve'echad mitamidei Rabbi Shmuel, Amar Dover echad u'mana Rabbi Yonasan. We spoke about Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yonasan is this shita right over here. But look, they're very similar because the Yavish, they both hold 0 Kedusha on the Yavish. So maybe they're saying the same thing. So what's the answer? It's obvious the answer. Over here, they're very different. In the liquid, they're different. According to Rabbi Kiva, in the liquid Kli, there's Kedusha on the inside and the outside. And according to Rabbi Yonasan, there's only Kedusha on the inside. Ask the Gemara, Leiman Nami, Rabbi Kiva, V'echon Talmidei Rabbi Shmuel, Omer Dova Echad, Uman Rabbi Yonasan? Says Gemara, the answer is they're not saying the same thing because they're very different when it comes to the liquid kli. One says there's only kedusha on the inside, and Rabbi Kiva says the kedusha on the inside and the outside.
What's this svara that's driving me?
The pasuk oisam. It's not a svara. It's how do you learn the word oisam? The starting point. Do you say this is nothing? Should be nothing. There's no even havamin that has kedusha, and we may have the word oisam to add to take off something else, or no? This does have kedusha, and I have to remove here. He holds this has kedusha. Just the word Isam comes to tell me that there's no kedusha on the outside, but therefore lach for sure has inside and outside. What? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Says the Gemara. We forgot something. How do you mix this? How do you mix the lechem upon him? Look at this. You mix it in a mixing bowl. That mixing bowl is a klisharis. The lechem upon him. The lechem upon him. You have to mix it somewhere. And if you mix it in a bisa, in a bowl, that bowl has tremendous kedusha. And therefore you have to be careful not to make it chametz. Even according to Rebbe Kiva. Okay, Rebbe Kiva says, you see this? No kedusha when you measure it. Yeah, but what do you do after you measure it? You have to put it into a mixing bowl. And that mixing bowl has kedusha. Says the Gemara, the lachu, and it's considered a liquid kli. V'ikabisa the lachu, it's a liquid, and that has kedusha. It's klisharis. Omerlei kegon shalosh agavi kadvulya. No, look at the right side. He did the lisha. You're right. If he did it on the left side and a bowl, it would have kedusha. You have to be careful not to make it chametz. Talking about that he put it on a piece of leather or something. A second ago we learned that Rabbi Yonasan says, I'll prove it to you from the two breads of Shavuos. There's no kedusha. You're going to Kalya Bisar in the Chol. You know why over there was no kedusha? Because he used a weekday kli, something that doesn't have kedusha. But maybe there is kedusha. Okay, Ashta says the Gemara. Over here, by lechem upon him, we could be doichik and say, oh, he did the leash on a piece of leather, not in a klisharis. Why? The Torah never said, I want you to knead it in a klisharis. You decided to do that. There's no isser to do it on a piece of leather. But when it comes to the shtei alechem, when the Torah says mefurish, v'isar and sarlas, well, that means use a measuring cup. And measure it inside the sisarim. You can't answer, oh, maybe he used a vachadika thing like a piece of leather. The Torah says mefurish to use the kadosh. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.